So let's start with talking about Onyx. It's been out now for a year and a half.
Yeah, about almost 2 years.
So almost 2 years.
I like to push it. 2 years, we'll take it.
The third album and the most successful thus far. Sure. 3 number one singles.
Yeah.
Thank number one,
by the way.
Absolutely. And it could be a 4th.
We're just fingers crossed, it's been what a ride this album's been, and the hard work. You were there from the beginning for us, Tony. It's just it's awesome to just keeping a career out of this crazy rock and roll business that's got us all kind of having to prove it live, man, and that's it's exciting.
Now, if this goes number one, there's some history to be made, right?
There would be. It would be 4 number ones for an independent band, I think.
Off one album? No band's ever done that in history, right?
No band's ever done it. So it would be, I don't even want to think about it, but it's already been such an awesome album. And I remember when we did it, we were taking a lot of chances with songs like Trenches and, just kind of coming out of that Pop Evil box. And we're excited to expand on that, obviously, on the next record. But just to see the fans really come on board this album is it's been inspiring. It's been great. In strongest lineup you guys have had thus far too. Easily.
And that's the cool thing about Onyx is you've got this strong powerhouse of musicians. Everybody seemed to really come together. And this will be like the first time you get to have those same players continue on with another record.
That's exactly right. We actually joke about that. Yeah, and you bring up a good point. I think when we were coming in to do Onyx, Chachi, our drummer, and Nick, our lead guitar player, it's our first time with an A-list producer, with Johnny K, and we didn't know how that was going to go. And, to see them grow and kind of bring that youth and young energy and excitement has kind of helped Dave and Matt and myself, who have been there from the beginning. It's kind of given us an extra jolt of energy that sometimes, you don't know you need. I think everyone's starting to support each other in our roles. There's no one, there's no threat that you're not going to be here unless you don't want to be here. So I think that coming, or I guess that line being drawn is led to more support from each band member being, more supportive, whether it's with my vocals or, us being more supportive about different band members' parts. And I think that allows more fun in the studio. And I think you see that on Onyx, that hopefully those first stages on Onyx. There's an excitement though. I mean, I think that with Onyx, I think we just tipped the iceberg. Nick was a great writer and just kind of tapping into his writing abilities on Onyx. And I know Matt was doing the same. I think that we're going to see, hopefully, an expansion, to where we're going to take the musical direction of Pop Evil as well as the lyrics. But I think we're all kind of looking forward to seeing, what this lineup, like you said, can do now.
Due to the fact that you've got all these number ones, it's got to be like, oh my God, we've got to try to top that. How do we?
We get that a lot. I don't think you think about it like that. I think the excitement is to try to, build that fan base. We've had the excitement of our first number ones, and now obviously with 3 of them, it's just certainly we want to continue that high standard of music writing in the studio. But I think there's a different passion and angst for proving it to our fans on stage. There's a certain energy that we want to build a live show. And you've seen plenty of good shows from us. You've seen some bad ones from us. And I think that kind of playing as many shows as we've had to play to get to this point, there's a certain, responsibility we feel to, be healthy, the parties and the selfish enjoyment of touring and just being a musician in today's world is kind of worn off. I think we're kind of holding ourselves accountable to write better, to be better people both on and off the stage and be better brothers. We want number ones. I'm not going to sit here and give you some clean line. Of course we'd love to have that. But I think that, it felt like I think on the last with Onyx, it felt like, we really wanted to break through and let people at the format know that, we're for real and we're not going anywhere. And we don't need the big major label to, give us any free lunches. We're going to pack our own and we're going to go to work every day, blue collar, just like we've always done here in Michigan.
Right.
And we're just going to keep proving it every night. And I think, talking with Matt earlier about the new record, we were talking about, would this be the best opening song? We're really thinking about filling the gaps where a live show is. I remember kind of watching Papa Roach when we toured with them early. It was like, oh my gosh, they sing that song? Oh yeah, I love this song. I love every song they played was a hit. So when you start having some radio success, you start having to pick battles about, well, I don't want to play that song. Well, it was played on the radio. It was a radio song. I don't really want to play it.
Fans are going to expect it.
Fans expect
it.
So it's like trying to, put together the best live show for your fans is, I think, where the interesting battle is on this next record.
It's got to be a lot more difficult picking that battle when you're opening slot, like, on a big tour, like you were on Uproar, and when you're on a tour like that and you've only got like 30 minutes, you got to pick the heavy hitters, and there's no choice about it, right?
Yeah, and you run into that with songs like 100 and Monster and Now Torn to Pieces. When you only have a half an hour set, you don't want to play 3 ballads.
Right.
So we cut 100 because we've been playing it the longest, and of course you get your share backlash, whatever song you cut. So
you're not going to please everybody.
You're not going to please everybody, but you certainly try. You don't want to let your fans down. But I think that's coming of age too. That's, I think, as we mature, like you said, you realize you can't please everybody. You got to put on the best show. And we had the half hour set all through the summer on Uproar. So, but I think kind of juggling that perfect live show, depending on how much time you have, is part of the fun. It's part of the battle.
And you say that too, like it is great to have radio. I mean, traditional, FM radio or whatever the case. And there's a lot of bands out there that are finding success through online marketing only.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And
yes,
they're really
absolutely.
finding this underground, and they're selling out venues, and you're like, I don't even know who this band is, and they're doing this.
Tons, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, do you think you guys would have been able to do it without radio?
I don't think so. I think, I think back, comes back to what you want to do. And I think that, being a writer, being able to write in different genres and different styles, I learned early on in my career personally that you had to figure out what it is that you wanted. And we knew early on, me as the front, I wanted to be a radio man. That was it. I grew up listening to the Shinedowns and the Theory of a Dead Man's and the Avenged Sevenfolds, those bands that were really breaking on radio. You think Breaking Ben, those bands, even though the greats like Metallica and AC/DC, Skinner, all those greats, but they weren't around when we were in a band on radio. The new bands, that new era of rock, the Slipknots, even the Disturbs, that they were kind of, oh man, those were the shows we were going to that we could afford to get into anyways.
Right.
And watching those bands kind of rise up and be our mentors, I think really inspired that, we could go and, we came from that generation where there's no guitar hero, pick up a real guitar, play a real guitar, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Change the game yourself. So I don't think there would have been a difference for us without radio, because that's all we knew. And I didn't know of any other social media outlets then. So I think it's social media is definitely something that's stronger and pulled towards the youth at this particular time. Our generation of rockers kind of was a little bit ahead or a little bit before that. So we didn't really know how to bust the band. It was MySpace, and I remember looking at MySpace. How many spins? Oh, we had 50 spins today. Dang it!
I was reading about MySpace. Somebody brings it up. It's like, wow, yeah.
Yeah, there's no Facebook back then, or no Twitters or Instagram.
You guys jumped into the scene when the industry itself was already in the midst of a huge change. So there were so many things happening, and the industry is just a different world than what it used to be. Yep. And bands are they're up and coming, and they're trying to figure out, what do I do? And you probably get a lot of bands that come to you asking advice, right?
Yeah, you do. And I think, the fun, I think the most realist, but it's kind of sounds a little absurd at first. The first thing I say to my close friends that are musicians and on the come up, I say, don't do it. And they laugh at me and they're like, well, really? And if me telling you don't do it makes you give me the finger and say, no, I'm doing this, I think that's the first step, because even when you do get a manager, or you do have a record label, like you said, they don't have the answers either. It's like this industry is in such a weird place that you can not have any radio play, have some internet love, sell out arenas, and you can have #1 records and people don't even know you. Who's to say that, if your goal and dream is to play for, sell out Madison Square Garden, then, maybe it's important to have more realistic goals. Like for me, back in the day when we played the shop, and using that as an example, because you and me know the Machine Shop very well. And if you don't know the Machine Shop, you should Google it and check it out, because it is one of the hottest places on earth, and certainly some of the nicest people. So I remember going there with you back in the day, and it was a rough day. I think there was like 4 people there, and you were one of them. And you still sat right up in front. And I remember being a little down at that point, because I wanted to get a record deal at the time. I thought that was the saving grace, and I remember having to change my goals that day and being like, you know what? if we can get 50 people in here next time, and so I think obviously 100, selling it out back-to-back nights. If you can make realistic goals being a new band, like this month we want to play 3 shows. This month we want to make $1,000 total with no band members spending any money out of the pocket. That's what we did, and instead of spending all our money in the studio, we recorded 3 songs. We pushed 1 single, just like a record label does. And, got behind it, did a video, which you can do videos now for dirt cheap. You can get your iPhone out or your smartphone out, shoot a video of you, and it can get millions of views now. So it's like there's no excuses for a new band. Our band, we started in Pop Evil's first show was 2001. Here it is 2014. And I think any of those bands you love have been together for a long time.
Do you remember that first show?
I do.
Do you?
I do. I got a funny story about it. We dressed up in all this girls' clothes. We went through that's another talk, what you look like. But I remember we wanted confetti cannons because we thought that was going to be a game changer. And it is. But we got these confetti cannons, and I'll never forget it. We had no idea what we were doing. So halfway through sound check, boom, Dave, who's still with me, Dave, my guitar player, boom, ignites it, confetti everywhere on the stage before the show even started. So we had 1 left, and we had to return them the next day about noon. So it was, I'll never forget that. The second one though went off without a hitch. It was perfect. It was only 1 confetti cannon, but they got the point. But I remember that, November 16, 2001.
Let's talk about one last thing, one fun thing right here.
Yes.
So let's say you could create your own Leigh supergroup, your own supergroup that you handpick the musicians. They can be alive, dead, whatever the case. What would your picks be?
That's a great one. I think I'd go Bonham on the drums. Man, bass is so tough. I've always wanted to just play with Flea just so I could be front row seat and just watch and be like, what are you wearing tonight, man? Wait, will you play that again? You gotta sing. So Flea on the bass for sure. I think Michael Jordan on the guitar, but Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jordan, same thing. And Jimi Hendrix on the guitar for one guitar player, and I'd probably do Frusciante again. You can tell I'm a Chili Peppers fan. Maybe and then of course maybe a side, be like kind of Linkin Park 2-singer moment. Zach De La Rocha, because I do love Rage. So just because I'd love to sing with him, I think it'd be great. Or if Zach was sick, I could do Eddie Vedder and just kind of cover a Pearl Jam song. I'm down.
Have a revolving door.
Just revolving featured singer moment. It would be like a little bit of Eagles stuff or something like that. Just cool. But there's so many, man. that's today. I think tomorrow will probably be a different set of characters. But it's just, I think that's the beauty of rock, man. You should just fall in love with so many different musicians, and that'd be my super group today.
What would you call it?
Muggsy Bogues. Sorry, we're on the Pearl Jam. I said Jordan, so I'd probably call it, I don't know, whatchamacallit. It's just because I'm craving one of those candy bars.
Whatchamacallit.
Whatchamacallit.
Good enough. Good enough for me.